We have a special show today. We discuss a major milestone for Cal Clutterbuck and for the Locked On Islanders podcast. Plus, we preview tonight's game against the Flyers. We have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders, all that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. And also want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. We have got a really packed show for you today. But first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to send us an email to lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X, formerly Twitter, at Locked On Isles. And you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X, formerly Twitter, at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long. And I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for instant insight and analysis. And it's great to talk a little Islanders hockey with viewers and listeners, game time or anytime. Well, it's kind of a nice little coincidence. But tonight, when the New York Islanders take on the Philadelphia Flyers, Cal Clutterbuck will be playing in his 1,000th career NHL game. And look, that is a milestone for any player. But it is even more rare for a grinder and a bottom six player, and really for most of his career, a fourth line player like Cal Clutterbuck to reach that milestone. And, 999 career NHL games, 138 goals, 280 points, only 684 penalty minutes, which is impressive when you add it all up. The fact of the matter is that Cal Clutterbuck has not had more than 60 penalty minutes in a season since he had 60 back in 2014, 2015. You could say he's physical. You could say he's tough. You could say he hits hard. But Cal Clutterbuck is not a dirty hockey player. And officially, he is the NHL's all-time hits leader. Now, again, hits was not an official statistic for the league until the early 2000s. But Cal Clutterbuck has been credited with 3,798 hits in his NHL career. Most likely going to top 3,800 tonight against the Flyers if he gets two more hits. And, you think about it. A player who has never scored more than 19 goals or 34 points in a season. A player who, like I said, is a fourth line guy, and a player who is the NHL's all-time leader in hits. He has really earned every one of those 1,000 games. And congratulations to Cal Clutterbuck. He said at practice on Tuesday, I'm not sure I ever would have guessed that I would have even played 1 or 100 games or 500 games. It's a big milestone for me. And wow, I mean, that is just an incredible thought for Cal Clutterbuck. And the Islanders, got to be proud of Clutter, what he's brought to the team over the years, the leadership. In the locker room, when Cal Clutterbuck speaks, and he doesn't speak all the time, but when he speaks, he has the attention of his teammates. And, he wears the A on his sweater for a reason. Franz Nielsen quoted on the Islanders' official website. I still remember the day we traded for him, how excited we were because we knew he could score goals, but we felt how hard and intimidating it was to play against him. We knew it was going to be a great asset for our team. The guy hates losing. He's going to bring it. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. He competes. He makes guys follow that. You want leaders. You want players in the room that compete. And look, it's been roughly a decade of the identity line being together, Cizikas, Martin, and Clutterbuck. And we know this most likely is their last season as a trio. But here's what Matt Martin had to say. We've been together so long, me, him, and Casey. We'll argue like brothers sometimes. He's a guy that when his hockey playing career is over, he'll remain a really close friend and like family to me. It's just an unbelievable chemistry that these three guys have had. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and dispute to anybody that, this line was more effective 2, 3, 4 years ago than they are now, but they're still, have some pretty good chemistry. And Cal Clutterbuck really, really earning the hard way this 1,000 game milestone. And, you gotta give him a lot of credit. And, here's one other quote from Cal Clutterbuck. I think my mind and the way I think the game is one of my greatest assets. And just being able to sit back and analyze what's going on and react, being in the right position and try to evolve with the game. You have to evolve with the game. If you don't, then it kind of gets away from you. I've had a lot of good times and some not so good times, but the whole thing has been a dream. So congratulations to Cal Clutterbuck on his 1,000th career NHL game. That is a big milestone for any NHL player. And assuming he plays tonight, 654 of those 1,000 games will be in a New York Islanders sweater. So that is really impressive as well. He has been a great Islander. And, look, is Cal Clutterbuck going to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame? No. But Cal Clutterbuck will always be remembered fondly by Islander fans for his day-to-day contributions for this team over the past 11 seasons. A big congratulations to Clutter for everything that he has accomplished in the National Hockey League. And hopefully, he will get that opportunity to lift the Stanley Cup at some point in his career. Time kind of running out. This is the last year of his contract. You really get the feeling this may be his last season in the NHL. But you know what? With Cal Clutterbuck, you never know. Staying healthy got to be a key for him. He's off to a decent start, solid start, really, this season. And hopefully Clutter finishes his NHL career on a high note. And I know Islander fans everywhere are certainly pulling for that. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We will preview tonight's game against the Philadelphia Flyers. Plus, it's 1,000 shows for Locked On Islanders. We'll talk a little bit about that. We've got our weekly farm report. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, a player who joined the Islanders in their second season and was an important leader, veteran leader on the blue line throughout the 70s. and was an assistant coach on the Islanders in his final year as sort of a player coach. So let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Bo Horvat could score 50 goals. The Islanders could hoist the Stanley Cup, and you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Sorokin, McDavid, Ovechkin, McKinnon will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a game. And to win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Islander fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you could start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That is code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And look, you can bet on the NFL, big weekend, rivalry weekend in college football. You've got the NBA, the NHL. You could use your knowledge of the Islanders on FanDuel. And, hey, check out the odds on Cal Clutterbuck getting a point as he plays in his 1,000th game tonight. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So the Islanders they're hosting the Philadelphia Flyers. They will face the Flyers twice in the next 3 games. And strangely enough, both games are at the UBS Arena. And the Flyers have been one of the pleasant surprises in the league this year. They are right now in second place in the Metropolitan Division. They have 3 games. They've played 3 more games than Washington and 1 more game than Carolina. And those 2 teams are just a point behind. But if I would have told you the day before the season started that the Flyers would be 10-7-1 after 18 games, I don't think a lot of people would have taken that bet. And a lot of it has been that the team is putting the puck in the net more, but they're also getting solid goaltending from Carter Hart, and they are on a winning streak right now. And they have won, 5 straight games, beating Columbus. They beat the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights. They won in Carolina, in LA, in Anaheim. They are on a roll. And it will be important for the Islanders to derail this momentum that the Flyers are having. Travis Konechny, 11 goals in 18 games. That leads the team. Cam Atkinson has 8, not far behind. Owen Tippett, 7. And then how about Travis Sanheim? He is making things happen, quarterbacking the power play. Only 2 goals, but 14 assists. So he leads the team with 16 points. The goaltending, Carter Hart has been outstanding. A 2.40 goals against, a .919 save percentage, and a 6-3 record in his 10 starts. The backups have been a little bit of an issue. Special teams, well, they are struggling on the power play. They're only 27th in the league with an 11.5% success rate. That leaves an opening for the Islanders, possibly, to get their penalty kill back on track. The Flyers penalty kill ranked 13th in the league right now with an 81.7% success rate. We look at the lineup for the Flyers. Sean Couturier, the top line center, with Tyson Forster and Travis Konechny on either side of him. Scott Lawton, Owen Tippett, and Cam Atkinson are the second line. Ryan Poling centers Joel Farabee and Bobby Brink on the third line. And then it's Noah Cates, Nicholas Deslauriers, and Garnett Hathaway on the fourth line. Travis Sanheim and Cam York are the top pairing on defense. Nick Seeler and Sean Walker are the second pair. And then Igor Zamula and Louis Belpedio are the third pairing. The goaltenders, as we mentioned, Carter Hart, and right now the backup Samuel Urson. Ryan Ellis on the IR, Rasmus Ristolainen also on the IR. Unlikely we see either of them in the game, excuse me, tonight. So that is the lineup. Islanders are going to have to find a way to get some pressure on the Philadelphia goal. And again, I can't stress this enough. Keep it simple in your own zone. Be smart with the puck and get the puck out of the zone. And the penalty kill has got to get cleaned up. Again, the Flyers struggling on the power play, and it makes it even more important for the Islanders PK to get things straightened out. And, you know, the Islanders power play has been playing well as of late. We have to hope that they can continue that. You don't want to let a leader like Cal Clutterbuck down in his 1,000th game. You want him to go, be a winner. We're also celebrating our 1,000th show today. This show here is the 1,000th episode of Locked On Islanders. We actually came on board in November of 2019, and the very first show was talking about the Islanders' 9th straight win, a victory over the Buffalo Sabres. If you can go back on your podcatcher of choice and listen to that show, certainly we've come a long way since then. I have to say it has been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to grow this community and do this show every day. And I just want to thank everybody watching and listening for being a part of this journey. And it's been great to take this ride with you. I'm looking forward to doing another 1,000 shows. So thank you, everybody, for all that you've done. I want to read one email from Frank in North Patchogue. Congrats on 1,000 shows. I'm so glad I discovered your podcast. You are as passionate as I am about the Islanders. I live and die with each game, and I am glad that I'm in good company with you and your viewers and listeners. I think that you should be the GM. Your clear and concise solutions for fixing our team is exactly what needs to be done. I look forward to the next 1,000 podcasts and for thousands beyond that. Frank in North Patchogue. Frank, thank you so much. I so appreciate hearing that from somebody who is a regular listener and viewer of this podcast. And again, I just want to thank everybody for helping make this possible. One other email I wanted to read, not relating to the 1,000th show of Locked On Islanders, but this is from Kevin in Virginia. My name is Kevin. I now live in Percival, Virginia. I'm from Levittown. My wife is from Oceanside. I grew up while the Islanders were winning Stanley Cup. Sad to say, I'm an Islanders fan. I just discovered your podcast, but I am now a daily listener. I have told my friends about your show, and thank you, Kevin, so much for doing that. How many points do you think the Islanders will end up with this season? And Kevin said 80. That, right now they're on pace for 82 points over 82 games. I think this team is capable of better than that. I think it'll be closer to somewhere between 90 and 95 points, but it's going to require, this team to clean a few things up. I'm hoping for that. Kevin, I'm trying to remain optimistic. I will say this team is better than what they've showed. It's better on paper than what they've showed so far this year. And let's hope they find their groove sooner rather than later, because I don't want this team to have to play catch up to make the playoffs if indeed they do. All right, we have got more to get to. We have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders, plus our Islanders birthday of the day. We've got all that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, this time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Look, life isn't always easy. Sometimes the holidays get people a little bit down. Sometimes there's just a lot of stress in your life. But if you want to be the best version of yourself, check out BetterHelp. I know some of the difficult times in my life, I've benefited from therapy, and you can too. So find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNHL, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNHL. So it's time for our weekly farm report as we discuss all things Bridgeport Islanders and some of the team's prospects. And the Islanders did play 3 games since we last did our weekly farm report. And, first game was a 5-4 loss last Friday against the Hershey Bears. Hershey, a very, very tough team. Islanders fell behind, but did manage 3 goals in the third period to pull within 1, but it wasn't quite enough. A goal and an assist for Otto Koivula. Sam Asselin had 2 helpers. Jakob Skarek only 23 saves in the loss. Carson Kuhlman, Jeff Kubiak, and Dennis Chalowski all with goals in a tough 5-4 loss. Then on Saturday, the Bears and the Islanders go at it again, and this time it was a 4-0 shutout loss for the Bridgeport Islanders. 25 save shutout for Clay Stevenson of Hershey. Ken Appleby had 28 saves, but the Islanders, who have struggled all year to score after getting 4 goals on Friday, could not light the lamp on Saturday. Sunday, however, the Islanders did get things together. Ended up beating the Providence Bruins by a score of 3-1, and Eetu Liukas getting his first goal in the American Hockey League, and that ended up being the game winner. Brian Pinho and Carlson Kuhlman also scored 2 assists each for Dennis Chalowski and Tanner Fritz. Jakob Skarek, 29 saves, many of them acrobatic. So a 1-2 week end, really, for the Bridgeport Islanders. They remain in 8th place in the AHL's Atlantic Division, 4 points behind Providence, but the Islanders do have a game in hand and are hoping to build on that. You look at the team's leading scorer, it remains Ruslan Ishkakov, 5 goals, 13 points. He leads them right now in both goals and is tied for the team lead in assists with 8, along with Dennis Chalowski, who had a very good week last week. He now has a goal and 8 assists for 9 points. Samuel Asselin, 4 goals, 8 points. Brian Pinho, 3 goals, 8 points. So those are sort of your leaders. If you're wondering about some of the bigger names, William Dufour only played in 9 games, a goal, 3 points. He's a -3. Matthew Maggio, 3 goals, 5 points, and a -2 in 14 games. Robin Salo, 2 goals, 4 points in 15 games. You look at the schedule coming up for the holiday weekend. There's a game tonight on the road at the Springfield Thunderbirds. So that's a 7:05 start in Springfield, and then 2 home games over the weekend. Saturday, the 25th of November, the Islanders will again host the Providence Bruins, and then Sunday at 3:00 Eastern time, the Belleville Senators will be visiting Bridgeport. And if you want to see some of the Islanders' future stars, you could get tickets for the game in Bridgeport or watch it on AHL TV. It is time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and this is a special one for me. I have met this former Islander several times, interviewed him a few times, and he's one of those unsung kind of players who really made a big difference to the Islanders in the 1970s. Not a household name anymore, but realistically, today is going to be the 80th birthday for former Islanders defenseman Bert Marshall, the native of Kamloops, British Columbia, 6'2", 195 pounds, which was really big back in the 60s and 70s when Bert Marshall played. He broke into the NHL with the Red Wings in the original six era, 65, 66, later played for the Oakland Seals and California Golden Seals, was briefly acquired by the Rangers in 1972-73 when injuries struck their blue line, and then joined the Islanders in 73-74. And this was a great move by Bill Torrey, who knew Bert Marshall from his time with the Seals and brought him in to give the young Islanders team in their second ever season stability, veteran leadership. I mean, he was a captain in Oakland, so that gives you an idea about what he meant to this team. And he did help mentor a rookie in that 73-74 season by the name of Dennis Potvin. The amazing thing about Bert Marshall, never scored more than 4 goals in any NHL season, never had more than 30 points. In fact, in 868 career games, he had 17 goals and 198 points, 926 penalty minutes. But he also played in 72 playoff games. And in that big Islanders playoff run in 1975, 2 goals, 7 points in 17 games. Bert Marshall, again, quietly a really important cog in the Islanders' transition from a weak expansion team to a perennial contender. And he later was a player coach for the Islanders in 1978-79, and then was the head coach of their farm club, the Indianapolis Checkers, for 2 years before taking over as head coach of the Colorado Rockies in midseason for 24 games. They are, of course, now the Devils. One of his better moments as an Islander, April 20th, 1976. This is Game 5 of the quarterfinal playoff series, Islanders and Sabres. Series is tied 2-2. So this is a huge, huge game. And with 19 seconds left in this game and the score all even at 3-3, Bert Marshall scores a goal, assists to Andre St. Laurent and the captain, Eddie Westfall, and gives the Islanders a 4-3 win in Buffalo. And the Islanders end up winning this series in 6. So a big clutch game, and he beat former Islanders goalie Jerry Desjardins in this one. Islanders get 21 saves from Billy Smith and 2-point efforts from Dennis Potvin, Andre St. Laurent, and Dennis Potvin with a goal and an assist. Jude Drouin had 2 helpers, but Bert Marshall, a physical, tough, smart, defensive defenseman. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Well, I really want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day, everydayers. Tomorrow on the show, we'll have our key takeaways from the game against the Flyers, and we'll talk a little bit about what Islander fans have to be thankful for, even during a difficult time like this. There are still a lot of things that Isles fans can be thankful for, and we'll talk a little bit about some of that. We'll have all that and a lot more. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy Thanksgiving, although we'll be back before Thanksgiving with tomorrow's show. But of course, let's go Islanders.